guys, welcome back. Well, I'm on top of the next baler to get the knotters done, so I'm not going to film any of this because hopefully you guys enjoyed the last two videos. I know it's probably a little monotonous, kind of boring, but that's what we were filming that week. So anyway, but I had someone reach out to me and ask me how I got started, and I thought my first video I kind of gave a little background, which I did a little bit but not a whole lot. So nope. What is she barking at? What? Go lay down like I told you. So I think in this video, I'm just going to put the camera down where you guys can see me working, and I'm just going to talk. I'm going to talk about how we got started, you know, my history in ag, the family's history in ag, and just how we got to where we are now. So I hope you guys enjoy. All right, here we go. I'm just going to talk while I work and tell you guys how we got to where we are now. So a little background. My family on both sides, my mom and dad, they've all been involved in ag. My great-grandfather on my mom's side, he probably farmed in the 30s or 40s. My grandfather also farmed, so my mom's dad, and my grandfather, my dad's dad, he farmed, my dad farmed, and I grew up working on the ranch. So both sides of the families, they're from the Patterson area. That's kind of where we started farming, and my dad's side ended up down in Fireball. They bought the ranch. So yeah, I grew up, you know, working on the ranch as a kid, you know, thinking that's what I was going to do. I was going to be a farmer. I was going to be the next generation on the ranch. Well, you know, I went to college, ag major, did some precision agriculture, plant science, mechanized ag. Came back to the ranch in 12. You know, worked full time. I mean, I worked at the ranch every weekend during college. I mean, I paid my way through school. Student loans were very minimal. So yeah, I came back full time, and then in 2014, we made a decision to sell the ranch and go a different direction. So 14 was our last season, and we harvested our crop. Well, we were row crop farmers, you know, alfalfa, cotton. We'd grown tomatoes and melons and stuff in the past. So 15 was the first year for LH Farm Service. That's when it was established, I guess you could say. So my wife and I started that. And then, so we did that. The ranch had always had kind of a custom hay for a few local growers. So, you know, the hay thing, that was something that you know, I knew how to do. I could do that pretty easily. So that's what we started doing. We started doing commercial hay work, you know, the cutting, raking, and baling. And we had one baler, one swather, and one rake, one big baler. We had a small baler too, but we don't really use it that much. So yeah, we got the LH Farm Service started. Had, you know, enough acreage to stay busy. You know, I pretty much handled it myself. My dad, you know, he would step in and help when I needed it, but I pretty much was, you know, a one-man show. Trying to get this thing to hold in the right spot. Yeah, I was a one-man show. I had some help too from another guy who was you know, he was an employee on the ranch, you know, for a long time. And so yeah, we did the hay, cut, rake, bale for the 15 season. Also in that year, I worked for my brother, who worked for, I worked the nut harvest season for my brother. So he worked for a guy up in Newman that had walnuts and almonds, and I had always had thoughts of wanting to get into the nut harvesting game. So, and my brother knew that, so he reached out to me and said, hey, if you want to come help us, for the season, you can get your feet wet and see what it takes. So that's what I did. I when I wasn't busy in the hay during almond season, I would go up there. Hold on a minute, someone pulled into the yard. Okay, it's the guy who cleans our porta potty that we have out in the field for the guys when they're doing field work. It's weekly cleaning. Okay, so yeah, 2015, helping my brother during nut harvest. So the guy he worked for, they had almonds, walnuts, and they also had their own walnut huller. They actually had a brand new one that they had just finished building. So that was kind of cool to get to see that. And so yeah, I did that, got my feet wet. I actually was approached by a local farmer in Fireball. He's a pretty prominent farmer at the time, that about a job. He wanted to he wanted to hire a farm manager, and he knew we had sold the ranch, and they grew almonds, tomatoes, cotton, wheat, melon. So it was right up my alley. I knew the crops, and so I met with him. We sat down and talked, and I knew that I wanted to do my own thing. I knew that I had something else coming up that I'll get to in a second, and I told him that. I said, I want to venture into the almond harvesting thing, and like I said, he told me if I wanted the job, I could have it. But then he asked me, he said, well, what are you, the almond thing, what are you thinking about doing? And I said, well, I think I'm gonna start with a shaker and just go from there, and see where it takes me. And he thought that was really cool, and he actually told me, he goes, well, if you don't take the job from me and you go buy a shaker, just plan on shaking our almonds for us. So I thought, wow, that's really cool. Like, I don't have a machine yet. I'm in the process of getting financing and stuff figured out, and I got work lined up. Like, that's great. So obviously I turned him down, but I took him up on the shaking. So we go through the winter of 15, and there was another local custom hay guy that I had been talking to a little bit, and he's ready to slow down. But he's been doing hay since the 70s. He's got, a good customer base. He's a very well-respected man. I have nothing but respect for this guy. Just a great person all around, everybody, the whole family. And he knew that we had sold the ranch, and he knew that I knew about how to do hay, and we talked, and we came up with the idea that, okay, maybe for 2 years I would cut all of his hay for him. So my job was the swathing. So I bought 2 of his swathers from him. So I have my sickle machine and 2 sickle machines from him. So we end up cutting all the hay and the wheat for the 16 season. We also purchased the shaker for the 16 harvest season. So I went in with a decent amount of work for it, but of course you want to do as much as you can. So I started asking around, and I kind of got the thing, well, you don't do the whole thing, the harvesting and the sweeping, it's kind of hard to schedule things like that, which I understood. I just couldn't afford to dive in 100% the first go around. So a friend of mine, he had just started as a farm manager for another ranch in the area, and I asked him, hey, if I could, they had 6 or 7 shakers, so they did custom work and then they did their own. And I, mentioned, hey, talk to your boss if you guys need help. I got a machine. And California was going through a drought, which I feel like we're always going through a drought nowadays. But so the farmers in the federal water districts, they were short on water. The almond crop came on faster than normal, so 2 weeks earlier than normal. My main customer, though, he farmed in what you would call the exchange contractors. So they're a different water project. They didn't have all the water they needed, but they had enough. So he wasn't going to be ready for 2 weeks, and I get the phone call from my buddy like, hey, we need help. How fast can you get here? The almonds are ready 2 weeks early. We got to get these things off, because almonds, if you don't shake them at the right time, they're just going to stick and you're never going to get them out. So I was fortunate enough to go run with them for 2 weeks. But also too, since we did the swathing, started doing the swathing for the other guy, I needed help. So I hired 2 guys. They're both brothers. They've worked for the family since the early 90s. I mean, I think when they came up from Mexico, our ranch was the first place they stopped, and they still work for me today. They're 2 really good guys. So they had no experience shaking, and I had next to none other than helping my brother. So we dove in head first and learned how to do it. So we were like I said, we were fortunate to get to run those 2 weeks with my buddy and his boss, getting our feet wet doing it. And I dropped a screw, so I got to pause here. I got to go down and find it. Okay, found it. So yeah, we were able to run for 2 weeks with the ranch that my friend worked for. And it was awesome, because their shaker crew, their shaker foreman, their experience, they know what they're doing, they're professionals, and so we were able to learn a lot from them. So yeah, it was awesome. We got to go down there and generate some income and get our feet wet, but we also got to go down there and just gain a lot of knowledge from their guys. And we still, to this day, we work together. If they need help, whatever, shaking, sweeping, if I need help doing whatever, we help each other. And that's what's really important, about having relationships and having good character, because at some point we're all going to need each other, especially in ag. So anyway, yeah, we got through the 16 season shaking. Big learning curve, but we survived. We made it. We're still here. So then, yeah, 17 came, or the winter came of 16, and got introduced to mummy shaking, so learned how to do that. And 2017, we're still cutting hay, still doing that. And then we decided to go all in on the almond thing. So, we're going to add sweeping and harvesting to that. So we did that. We ended up with two sweepers, 2 little sweepers, a pickup machine, and a shuttle truck. The ranch that we helped shake the prior year, the owner was nice enough to let me borrow one of his elevators. He had he had a backup, you know, that they didn't really use a whole lot, and he knew that I was getting started, and he thought, hey, save yourself some money, you know, just use our elevator, you know. But I had to go help them when they called, you know, because I had their elevator, which was fine. And so yeah, we, you know, another learning curve for almond harvest, but we survived, we made it. And so yeah, we got through harvest, got through mummies of 17. 2018 is when we took over the baling side from the other custom guy. He still roadside hauled the hay for one more year. So yeah, we did that, which, you know, that was no big deal. We cut and baled hay our whole life, so we knew what we were doing. It was just, you know, a little more than what we were used to. So yeah, and then the 18 almond season, what'd we do? We bought another sweeper, another shuttle truck, and harvested a little bit more. Got through that okay. Actually went through a little bit of heartache because I had a customer that, you know, a week before shaking, I'd never worked for these guys. They were a new customer, and it was basically going to be about half my acreage. They decided that I was too expensive, and they were going to get somebody else to do it. So you can imagine how I felt, you know. I mean, literally a week before we were going to shake. I mean, I'm talking with the foreman, we're scheduling water, you know, we're going to start shaking, and I get a text, of all things, you know, that, hey, sorry if you can't do it for cheaper. I got someone else who will do it. And well, you know what I've learned? If somebody can find somebody to do it cheaper, just tell them, well, go ahead, let them do it. So anyway, we pulled up our bootstraps, made some phone calls, you know, and we gained the lost acreage back, and we also gained a couple new loyal customers that we still harvest for today. So probably a blessing in disguise, but still, nonetheless, it was kind of stressful. And so yeah, we went through the 18 season, doing the hay, more almonds. 19 rolls around. Oh no, winter of 18 is when we added the mummy mowing. So we bought a mummy mower and did that. So that was another new service for us for the wintertime stuff. And then, you know, still doing the hay, but now we're into 19. Yeah, winter of 18 we started mummy mowing, and the 18 hay season rolls around, and now we are going to run roadsiders or harrow beds, bale wagons, whatever you want to call them. So I got one harrow bed, and I had to go buy a retriever, which, you know, you guys have seen that in the videos. So my dad and I went down to Arizona, down to Hauser, got a truck from them, got to meet those people. Great people, great family. And yeah, started hauling hay. That was one process of, you know, the hay deal that I had never done. You know, I mean, I didn't think it was difficult, but, you know, like anything, there's tricks and stuff to it, you know, like anything else. Man, this is being a pain in the butt. So yeah, we did that for the 19 season. So yeah, now so with the hay, with the harrow beds, the 3 big balers, you know, the rakes and the swathers. 19 we added another almond harvester and a 4th sweeper, and then also during the season I ended up buying a super bee sweeper. Got through almond harvest pretty, okay. So yeah, and then, go through the mummies of 20, get that done, and so yeah, then now we're into last year, 21. Go through the hay season, no problem. Almonds. We got another shuttle truck, so we're up to 3 shuttle trucks, and then we ended up getting a self-propelled flurry harvester, and go through almonds okay. I mean, the almonds, and everything has been getting harder and harder just because of, lack of help, or the, I don't know, it's just frustrating, but we get through it somehow. And we also added another mummy mower that year, so 2 mummy mowers, still doing the sanitation thing, and yeah, I mean, now we're here. I haven't said how many acres we do or have done because I just don't like to. I don't even like to ask people, how many acres they do or what they cover, because I just don't think it's polite, don't think it's necessary. So if anyone wants to know, we do enough to stay busy. That's my answer to everybody. So yeah, that's kind of LH Farm Services story. So we are gonna start our 8th year. Well, we have started our 8th year. Ooh, got saved. We have started our 8th year in business. My wife, she is a integral part of the business. I mean, she's the other half of LH Farm Service. She had a job, for an insurance company as like an account manager. And when we had our son, kind of decided that, we wanted her to be a stay-at-home mom to spend time with the kids. And, we knew the business was growing, and she's, she takes care of the office stuff now. And gripes at me when I show up with quotes for equipment or big parts bills, but hey, that's all right. That's part of it. So yeah, she's a big part of the business. Can't do it without her. We have some really good employees that work for us. We do our best to treat them right, and they treat us well. So yeah, this is where we're at. We've grown a little every year, and we hope to continue to grow. There's some ideas and things that I want to start doing in the future, but for now, this is where we're at. So I hope that gives you guys a little insight to what we do and where we came from. I did do a podcast last year. It's called the Almond Journey podcast. I pretty much, kind of tell the same story. So, but there's other stories on there too that are good to listen to. So if you guys want to check it out, it's called the Almond Journey. I was a guest on that show last year. But yeah, and anybody, wanting to get into something, whether it be ag or whatever, everyone always asks how we got started, and it's like, well, we just dove in head first, and you figure things out along the way, and you just, for me, I let my reputation and my character bring the business. I've been very fortunate. I've gone and knocked on doors and asked for work, but it makes me feel good when I get customers who come to me who want us to work because they heard that we do a good job, and that's what we strive to do. But yeah, anybody who's got good work ethic and a little bit of gumption, you guys can take on the world. So if you're gonna do something, just jump in head first. But anyway, yeah, that's our story. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will catch you guys in the next one. We are, I think, gonna start cutting hay next week, so those videos are coming. I know the last one with the knotters probably wasn't the most exciting. Maybe this one isn't either, but I hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks. it. You guys see some ties.